All right, let's go on to one more question, which is if there was one thing that you would want an incoming student to know about the program, what would that be if there's one thing? If you want to mention two, that's fine as well. Chrisanne, why don't we come back to you and start with you again?
Yeah, I think it would be really important for students to know that there's a lot to get out of the courses, but it requires a lot of investment from the students. I think that when you take ownership of your learning, that it requires, there's a certain amount of independence to the learning, and especially appropriating the material so that you really can deepen your ministry and deepen your work once you leave Eastern. So I think in as much as students can come in with a few questions that are their questions about what they want to take out and from this kind of program, I think it behooves them to drive that question into every class, into every piece of coursework, so that they get what they're looking for, and at the end they find the answers to their questions. Maybe they find more questions along the way, but they make it their own, that they're participants in their learning.
Great, thanks, Chrisanne. Max, so one thing or two things that you would want an incoming student to know about the program?
I think a lot of what people have said I would agree with. I think relationship is a big piece that I would kind of focus. I think the relationship in a cohort is really helps make or break your experience. And if you're able and willing to develop those relationships and kind of dig in with those people, sometimes that happens just by nature, I think that really makes it a lot more rich. I think the second thing might be it might be healthy to help for people to find a home church while they're here. I know a lot of people come from an outside place, and I remember when I was a student that you encouraged us to find a church. But I think having some practical way to express and talk about and kind of debrief with a faith community is very valuable, because otherwise it feels like a disconnect where you're learning all this stuff but you're not doing, and then when you finally go on the field, it's like just the learning just gets thrown out the window. So helping to integrate that while you're still on campus.
Great, thanks, Matt. Leah Hood, what do you think?
Maybe from more of a pragmatic perspective, the first semester for students that are on campus, or the first 6 months for folks online, is just an intense transition period. And folks are learning how to do graduate school. A lot of the rules have changed. A lot of the ways that you engage with your peers, you engage with your readings, even your relationship with the instructor is different, and there's a real learning curve for some students on that. And so to make space in your life, I would help students make space in your life to let that transition happen, and also kind of extend extra grace to yourself as students are trying to figure out how all this works. I think I've seen by a second semester, or after students have a couple of online courses under their belt, there's kind of a rhythm that people intuitively learn. So you have to learn that rhythm, and that's hard. It's a hard process for students on campus. Right about October, November is when the wheels start falling off for some students, and it's a crisis mode, but it's normal. And so just to kind of make space for those things.
Thank you, Leah. Eloise?
I was thinking for some reason of potential students, and I would tell them that this program is really a very well-developed, mature program. It's been around for a long time. It's gone through a whole series of transitions, and I think the curriculum is extremely well hammered out, and that we have excellent faculty here. People with a real strong mission to the program along.
Joanne?
So a couple things. One, I think what Leah just pointed out about the transition and getting into rhythm to students, that's huge. But kind of thinking along the lines of Eloise, I would say the strengths of Eastern's development programs, not specifically the MBA, but all its programs, are twofold, I think. I think Eastern has long been in the social justice tradition, which is the Justice Conference is just taking off, right, within society. Everybody's talking and thinking about it, but the guys like Tony Campolo and Ron Sider were swimming very much upstream years ago, 30 years ago, to try and transition in the Christian mindset that social justice belongs alongside evangelism. That you ought to serve the whole person and that holistic nature. And so that's very much, yeah, we have been doing that faithfully for over 30 years. So I would stress that piece of it, and I would stress the piece specifically with the MBA program that currently there is a larger question in our society about what is the role of business. You know, is it to extract value? Is it to add value? And categorically, if it's to add value, that has to come from a faith-based perspective, and we're doing that thinking here at Eastern in lots of different ways with our faculty and with our students. And so I would add that component.
And I would say, building on what everybody said, two things. One is that this is going to be a real opportunity for the student coming in to deepen their relationship with Christ and to do it in the context of a cohort where everybody, in a sense, is on that, you know, potentially at different places on that journey, but really looking for something like that as well. And we've seen that. And the second thing is to take advantage of the faculty. Sometimes I think some of the students feel that we're really busy, and so they don't kind of want to bother us. But, you know, we all have had significant amounts of experience in the field, and just to encourage them as they're coming to the program as prospective students, looking at the program, even to get in touch with us and just chat with us about our experiences, or if they have certain questions about what it actually looks like in the field. And we do a lot of that in class, obviously, but just to not be afraid to go that extra mile to take advantage of us here.